experiences. So many people from our church background, we were pastoring and leading a church just outside DC. Especially our leaders there, they'll swear by Dustin's hamburgers or PD's hamburgers because they love the way they taste. And so I'm going to reveal a little bit of my secret recipe so you guys can try this. Shocker. Dun, dun, so, but before I do that, we're actually doing something I didn't do with anybody in the past, but I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. Normally, I would get a little bit fattier meat because it sticks together better when you're grilling it, and it's better for the hamburgers. A lot of that drains off when you're grilling, so grilling is great about taking fat away from the burger. So again, I will get a fattier meat to make sure the patties stay together. I've used leaner meat, and it doesn't stick as good or as well. So that's your choice, but I'm going for something that's a little fattier. And historically, I would just pick up some of the tube meat or whatever at Walmart or the grocery store and take care of that. But we have meat that's left over that's from various different places from freezer, and we have meat as well that I purchased at Weiss, our grocery store, because 3 pounds of meat was coming up to $11.99. $11.99 for 3 pounds of meat. And that's the fatty meat in the tube. And I was like, I'm not going to pay that. So I went and looked for the cheap burger patties that are burger, real meat, and I got the 5-pound boxes, and I paid $10 for those. So I got 2 5-pound boxes of those. So we're going to make enough patties and burgers that we can take them and freeze them. We can store them. We like to eat them through the winter. This is something that you can make the patties, separate them, and then drop them into Ziploc bags and freeze for later. It's a great thing that you can have all through the winter.
So these are actually our hibernation burgers.
Hibernation burgers. But of course, we'll eat some of them tomorrow night, so we'll keep them fresh and drop them in the fridge for tomorrow. But let's just do this. So the first thing is of course, take your meat. And so I'm going to start dropping the meat in there. These are just some of the patties that we had that we're clearing out. We don't want to waste anything, so this is something we're not going to waste. It's good meat. And of course, these 2 little pieces of tube that we already had, we're dropping in here. Yep. And so get that guy in there. Try and be careful not to splatter it everywhere because it's open. There we go. All right, and then we're going to jump into some of this. I need to grab a knife real quick. I'm just going to break these guys open and, God bless it, go to town, because this is time. These guys have already thawed. Get all this in here. All this in here. And I'm getting ready just to mush this meat up. Mush, mush, mush. So I think that's as much as I can get in here right now. I'll go work on some more of it. We're going to do a few batches, so this will be the first batch. And those burgers have already been processed, so it'd be good to get some of this meat in there with them. So that's it. That's our ground beef. You gotta get your hands in it, unfortunately. Just the way it is. Get that all mixed. And it'll get more mixed as we go. Let's get it somewhat in there. Now, the next ingredient I'm going to add are 2 eggs. So 5 pounds of meat for me calls for 2 eggs. I need that to give it some stickiness, to give it a little more of that fattiness. There's 1 egg. I'll drop this in here. Here's 2 eggs. All right, there's that. And then the next thing I use like an onion soup mix. I don't need any specific brand. People are really happy with all the different versions we take or use. And here's our onion soup mix. I use an entire pouch of onion soup mix per 5 pounds. So the next one will get another one for it. There's that. And then this is the top secret thing. So, especially when we approach this, people think whenever I say we use stuffing mix in it, they think, that's like meatloaf. Yes, it is. This is like the world's most awesome meatloaf on a bun. and better than that, especially if you put in like cheese or blue cheese, goat cheese, which our kids just absolutely die over, or whatever in it. And you would think I would use some butter or whatever flavor. It's not the case. You need chicken. You need chicken stovetop. So this is a twin pack of stovetop. It's like half the price of 2 separate containers. So there you go. And it's perfect for if I'm doing my 10 pounds of meat in a day. I'm freezing it.
For hibernation burgers.
My hibernation burgers, I'll put that in there. It's all in there. So now everything's in there except for one other thing, and that's the Worcestershire sauce. So we use Worcestershire sauce.
Oh, it's not open.
New bottle. This is the part that sends me to the hospital.
Oh, Dustin.
I always have, I always have a story. Lori can tell you. Always something that happens. Oh man. This is what happens when you don't open the bottle before you get fat all over your hands.
And you can't use your teeth because you get the raw meat.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Ugh, I don't even think of that. It's gross. Okay, so get this off. Wash the bottle later because it's greasy now. Yes, awesome. You can tell I'm not Martha Stewart, and I don't care. So, who needs to be Martha Stewart? It's overrated. Overrated. Anybody can do this at home. So, I'm going to just get that stovetop. The way I like it is I like it to be almost all dark. And that's how I do it. And all over the top.
Show me how much is left.
Boom! That's how much I used. Boom! Right there. I'm going to use the same amount on the next one. Oh, itch on my face. All right. And then I just mix it up, guys. This is it. I'm going to mix it up. And this takes quite a few minutes to mix up because you got to get it really thoroughly mixed in. The egg and everything has to get thoroughly through the entire mix. So I'm just telling you, it's not easy. It's going to take us a while. And then we make the patties. And once we make the patties, I make them about, I'll just go ahead and show you.
You make them really thick.
I do. I make them really thick because on the grill, you're going to mush them down and you don't want them to fall apart. I make them about this big, which this is not one of the patties because I haven't mixed it enough. And then boom, I throw it right on my piece of aluminum foil or wax paper.
And how many will you get for boom. 5 pounds?
For 10 pounds, I get about 40. That's what I know. I do 10 pounds at a time, so I think 10 pounds, 40. And you probably can get more if you want to do smaller burgers than that. But that's how it works, folks, and that's it. I'm not going to make you look through all my nasty, grimy stuff. But anyways, oh yeah, and if you forget to take your rings off, like I really realized I did, enjoy washing your hands later because that's awesome.
Dawn soap.
Awesome.